What's up guys, welcome back to Destiny Updates. Today we're doing another news roundup for you, covering a number of interviews with Joseph Staten and Christopher Barrett after the GDC presentation the other week. There's also a few more things out of official Xbox Magazine's May edition that I didn't know about before, so I'll cover those as well. And finally, GameSpot took a visit to a bunch of game studios in Seattle, one of which was Bungie. Not a whole lot was mentioned there, but we'll still go over it briefly. So let's get right into it. We'll start with the interviews. The first one is from Eurogamer. Now there were a couple things here I found worth pointing out. The first one being that they were very clear that your character in campaign is the exact same as the character in competitive multiplayer. With Joseph Staten saying that if you think of Halo, you had two sort of experiences in general. I'm gonna play story, or I'm gonna play competitive multiplayer. In the story, I'm gonna play story, and in competitive multiplayer, I'm just fighting against people. There's really no story there except for that awesome story of the moment-to-moment combat experience I'm having in the post-game. They continued, saying that we still believe in a great narrative cinematic story. We want your character, whatever character you are, a female robot warlock or a male human titan, whoever you are, you're going to be the star of that cinematic story. Continuing on, they said there are many activities that cross the divide between story and multiplayer in this world of Destiny, and your character is going to go through all of them. So whatever character you are in the story is the same character you are in all these other activities, including competitive multiplayer. Continuing with, and so our hope is that it will feel like a consistent experience. Some are more narrative driven, some aren't, some are just more emergent. But you're a consistent character across all of those. That's the key. That's where that consistent experience comes from. So there you go, confirmation that your character will be the same across all types of play. Now the next really interesting point has to do with character creation in Destiny, with Eurogamer saying, the impression I get is that you want it to be an immediate experience, almost like you pick based on a gut reaction to the options. Is there an overriding philosophy behind what you're trying to do here? Now Chris Barrett answered, when we talked about how that process would work and the choices the players would have, we knew that if we gave somebody a choice and then betrayed that choice later down the road, that would be bad. We wanted players just to go on gut. What do they like the look of? What sounds cool to them? And not betray that in any way. We don't want to make something where a character plays very differently or isn't what they thought they were getting. That tied into that process. We want to give people whatever they want to play in the world and not have any negative side effects. Now Joseph Staten also answered saying, making it upfront and quick and largely emotional, and nothing that's going to later down the line make you feel like you made the wrong choice. You're going to make this on a gut emotional choice. I'm going to look at that robot, and I'm going to look at that more exotic space elf, and I'm going to look at that human, and I like robot. It's like bam, I'm going to be a robot. And there's nothing about being a robot that's going to play any different from the other two. Chris Barrett ended it by basically saying that they didn't want to give any bonuses to specific races that would end with people making the wrong choice and having to start over down the road. So I thought this was definitely worth pointing out, as it sounds like race choice in Destiny isn't going to affect gameplay in any way, and it's going to be purely cosmetic. Now continuing on, a little bit about the story building process came up, and something that interested me was how they said they're building their story, explaining that it's not a linear script as it was in the Halo games. So the way they went about doing it in Destiny is they would take a plot card, such as space zombies invading the moon, or whatever it is, which was just an example they gave, I have no idea whether that's going to be in the game or not, and say that's an awesome idea, let's put that there, and then let's come up with other ones. And then let's start moving them around and stay flexible, and then effing play the game so that we know it's going to be fun, and then finally, let's tighten the screws and shoot it. Now when they say shoot it, they're talking about like reference to a film set, because they mentioned before that they're building Destiny in the way they think TV shows are built. Now those were the few things I found really worth mentioning in the Eurogamer article, so let's move on to what was in GameSpot's interview. So when asked whether or not games have a responsibility to show seedy sides of humans, Staten answered, I think if you want to tell a credible story, yes, absolutely. In terms of player choice, which is what we were talking about, we want players to be a hero. And if you're a hero, that means you're largely on the side of good. You might make a racial choice to be an exo, which is artistically and thematically a little more sinister and dark. You might choose to be a hunter class, who is just a little bit more in the bounty hunter roguish vein. But at the end of the day, you're a player in this world, you're a guardian of the last safe city on Earth, and it's really important that you are this heroic, hopeful figure in the world. That said, we're absolutely going to run into humans and other exos and other awoken, who some are bad people. They have bad plans. There aren't all good people in the world that you'll run into. So you'll see that breadth across the characters in our game, but if you're the player, you're the hero. So that was interesting because they brought up that not every character in Destiny is good, And besides the strictly enemy races we've seen, such as the Fallen, Cabal, Hive, etc., there's also baddies in the playable races as well. Now another reason this was interesting is because it sounds like they have no intention of allowing you to be evil in Destiny. No matter what you choose, you're still going to be a hero. Now moving on, they were asked how the idea of hope factors into Destiny. And Staten basically said that post-apocalyptic worlds are fun, but if I want to spend time in a world, if I want to be an agent of change, then I want to be an agent of good. I want it to be a hopeful outcome. Going on to joke about the name Destiny, saying, what kind of destiny do you want to have? Do you want to have one that ends in annihilation and reprehensible things? Or do you want it to end in a hopeful, heroic place? For us, that's really important. That legacy we want to build is a hopeful one. With Christopher Barrett adding that from an art standpoint, there's a lot of games that are intentionally making a really grim or dire world. And we wanted to build a world that's accessible to everyone and hopeful and fun to visit. And sure, you can have evil spaceships and zombies and stuff like that, but those are things that give flavor. But at the core, we want to make a beautiful, hopeful place that's inspiring to people. Now going on, they discussed the mysteries in Destiny, with Staten saying that one of the things they decided on early on was to center it on Earth, but we wanted to build a history. We wanted to build a block of time that occupies from here and now to the distant future, but we want players to go back and explore this lost human history. And so for us, that was the source of a lot of mystery in our world. Now that was everything I found really interesting out of the GameSpot article. Now let's move on to the few new things out of the official Xbox Magazine May issue. Now once again, I never did get a hold of the magazine myself, so this is all coming from a breakdown over at destinyhub.net. Now there was really only a couple things out of the article that I didn't previously cover, so we'll just go over those real quick. The first one is this Cabal, which you can see on screen now, with this monster machine gun with that sort of tank thing, which I'm guessing is either for ammo or some sort of power source. Anyways, this particular class was called a Sand Eater. Whether that's just a nickname or what it's going to actually end up being called, I'm not sure. Now they went on to talk about the seamless, no-menu networking and matchmaking that we heard of before, and the use of emotes to communicate with other players, and using these emotes to go beyond voice chat. Now the networking system already sounded a lot like Journey, the way players drop in and out seamlessly, but if they're introducing the use of emotes or some sort of gestures to communicate without speaking, then that sounds even more like Journey, where you communicate with sound notes. Moving on, they also said that OXM was left curious about the lack of discussion about DLC, and they suggest that given the game's focus on loot, purchasable items seems likely, in their opinion. Now purchasable items meaning like guns, armor, individual little things like that, the more microtransaction model. And now I hope it's not an issue. If Destiny is going to have microtransactions, that does kind of suck, and I'm going to be kind of pissed to be honest. But again, that was just their opinion, nothing confirmed yet. On the bright side, it was previously confirmed that there isn't going to be any monthly subscription fee, so that's something to look forward to at least. So that's it for the few new things out of official Xbox Magazine's May issue, once again courtesy of destinyhub.net. Moving on to the final thing I wanted to mention in this video, which is that GameSpot put up a video visiting a bunch of game studios in Seattle, one of which was Bungie. Now they really didn't talk about Destiny, but they did kind of talk about Bungie's split with Microsoft and moving away from Halo, basically saying that the split was mutually agreed on by both parties and that it was the best thing for everyone involved. Also saying that they still love the Xbox, so it's not like they're going far. Which for those few people out there saying that they hate Xbox now and they're going to PlayStation, they're ditching the Xbox and all that crap, it's not true, so shut up. All they're doing is branching out to a wider audience. Anyways, I thought the video was quite good and definitely worth watching, even for all the other studios as well, not just Bungie. So I would definitely advise checking that out. There'll be an annotation on screen now, and you can also find a link in the description below if you're on a mobile device. Anyways, that's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like. It's definitely much appreciated and really helps me out. And if you didn't enjoy the video, then feel free to leave a dislike. At least it provides feedback. So thanks a lot for watching. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the latest Destiny news, and I'll see you in the next update.